How you doing? We're going to cover some numbers today. Normally, my build videos are about the saw. Today, it's not necessarily so. It's about generating the numbers. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What am I looking for? What works? What doesn't? That kind of thing. This is Ben's P62 Pioneer that we're working on. A lot of you seen it on yesterday's video. And we'll start out with the first thing. The numbers the saw had. This is a 98cc saw. It's a governed carburetor. We're going to ungovern the carburetor. We're probably going to use a 394 or 395 carb on this. We'll just send Ben's original carb back with him, so that he's got it in case he needs it. And now the interesting thing, these are a 2¼ inch bore on these. They're not little. I did find out that I could take if I had one myself that had a bad cylinder, I would like a Pioneer P61 or 2 that was known to have a top end bad. And I'll tell you why. I want to bore one to 58 millimeter. If I do that, I can put a steel MS661 Weisco forged piston in one. It's not plug and play, trust me. The wrist pin's smaller, the whole 9 yards. I would have to use the larger wrist pin from the saw itself, have my wrist pin bore enlarged to accept the Pioneer wrist pin. This is where I would have to go with this. I would also have to shorten that wrist pin so it fit the MS61. See there, it's like 57 point something. I didn't write it down. Millimeter bore. So if I went right to a 58 millimeter bore, I'd have a heck of a dome in that. Also, that's another thing because the pin position is different. So all things are possible. I don't have a saw. If I can find one, I'll pick it up. So P61, P62 with bad top end. Okay, transfers. Let me get into a little bit of this. For this size saw, this is very small transfers. See the transfer opening? Tell you what I found out about this. Primary right there, secondary. That bridge between them is partially blocking that primary. When it comes through from the lower, transfers into the upper, and it does it right here too. I gotta clean that up with an angle grinder. Okay, I'm also gonna widen them just a little bit. Okay, clean up, widen. I'm gonna correct the path of airflow because I'll tell you what it does. The air, it comes up through the transfers. The transfers are like your intake on your car. Okay, now if you had an instant 90-degree bend on your intake, that just stops airflow, and it'll also knock fuel out of suspension. Okay, we need laminar flow, that means rough, to be able to keep fuel in suspension. What that does is it keeps the air from coming in contact so bad with the wall. When air hits the wall of the transfer, it gets turbulent and the fuel just sticks to it, and then at some point it is sucked back out as raw fuel, not gas. See, we're trying to create gas with gasoline and air mixture. We're trying to create a vapor. Okay, it turns into a gas under the compression stroke and gets fired. Okay, so with that being said, you can see that they really are a fairly substantial upper transfer with crappy little ones. Okay, I want to make my transfers the size I feel the saw needs. And now you have to have a sealing surface. So when you, especially older saws, make sure that you leave enough area here to be able to guarantee that seal. Okay, in this case, that bubble right there, part of that round right there, actually sticks off of where the cylinder mounts on the case. So I have to be careful with that. I want it to seal, but I've got to have transfers that's good for a 98cc saw. Okay, these are not RPM kings. I'm not going to make it an RPM king. I honestly only intend on raising the peak RPMs, maybe 1,000, maybe 600. Let's see how I feel about this. What I'm going to do is raise it in the cut. Substantially going to raise the RPMs in the cut. That's what I'm looking for. It might just sit right there on the top. Okay, here's the numbers the saw was. Okay, was because we already started working on it. We had the exhaust opened at 106 degrees. Okay, 12 degrees later, the transfer's opened. That's not enough time. It's not. Normally, let's talk about this in this saw. The exhaust is really quite wide, okay? It really is. I love my Fordham thing so much. What happens? Think about what you're trying to accomplish. I like to see 25 degrees separation from when exhaust opens to when the transfer is open. I like to see that. Sometimes all the way to 30, like the new saws. We've discussed that. A lot of these ring zingers that are coming out with now actually are longer than 25 degrees. I ask for that 25 degrees out of a saw whenever possible, because I feel like that's a real safe number, knowing that when the piston clears the exhaust, the pressure comes out. The largest amount of that pressure comes out within 1/4 of an inch of opening. It really does. But that's right where these darned transfers open. It's too early. Okay, so once the exhaust has came out, piston's still on its way down, transfers open, they flow air-fuel mixture in above the piston, aimed at the intake roof. In this case, it's a reed saw, but it's on that side. It blossoms and shoves that exhaust gas out, okay? Piston hits bottom dead center. There is a bounce back effect. Part of the air-fuel mixture that got shoved out, that shoved the exhaust gases out, came back in. Okay? It creates a swirl. This is what we want. This is. Comes back up. The piston clears the exhaust roof. The ring seals. And from your top of your exhaust to the top of your cylinder is all you got to make compression. Think about what I'm saying. Okay? Now, you're also depending on a muffler that's not severely restricted. When you are increasing horsepower and torque and airflow, your muffler has to produce more airflow also. A lot of cases, and in particular in the Pioneers, their mufflers were restricted. They were. We're going to unrestrict them. That's another video. So, airflow is king. Absolutely guaranteed king. Now, I was only able to get to 20 degrees. My exhaust opens. 20 degrees later, my transfer is open. There's nothing I can do about that. Okay? Nothing. Except for machining. I can drop that deck, that cylinder, make a dome out of my piston, get my squish. Okay? I can do that. I know that. I don't want to go that another 5 degrees doing that in bend saw. I want to get what's nice to get out of this saw. This is an antique. It's a vintage saw that is, in my eyes, this saw is perfect. Okay? So, and there's no cylinders available, so I'm not pushing this. Though I could. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't need it. I will be deleting the compression release, the decompressor. I'm going to plug the hole with JB Weld, because we lose in these saws, we lose compression. It has to fill the hole underneath the decompressor. We're getting rid of it. Don't worry, Ben, you'll still be able to start it. I'm dropping the compression. I'm not raising it. I'm going to drop the compression in the saw to what I know where to go with it, just from experience. But as you raise your exhaust roof, you are losing compression. This saw was real stiff. It really was. Oh yeah, you could start it, you're wheeling it. But this had a lot of compression. So I'm gonna drop the compression because I know something. When you got your numbers right, when that saw starts, it's building compression. When it gets up to RPMs, it's building more compression. Let's build it later. Let's not have it all initial. I don't like saws that have crap load of compression all at once. Too hard on starter drives and ropes. Too hard on me. Okay? So, we're going to get going on the lower transfers. Now, this is probably going to scare a few of you when you see what I do here. And there's a bunch of you that will absolutely understand. So I got to get set up. And this is what we're doing. Now remember, your primary transfers are always on the exhaust side. When you flip your cylinder around, don't screw up. And yeah, I've done that before in the past. I always make a mental note to just see where I'm at. It's when you flip things around all the time, if you aren't clear-headed about it, don't be doing it. I tell you what, I've learned a lot of bitter lessons about fatigue and working on these. Let your tool cut. Don't force it to cut. It'll only, see the burr? See how the depth of the burr, of the cutting edge of the burr? That's all you got. So if you force it, you're going to end up with ragged edges. Dremels are king. I love Dremels. You can do this with a Dremel just as easy. But I got kind of used to this, so I like my Fordham. Nice easy stroke, see? You hear that I'm not hogging. You got all the time in the world. If you see, what I do is I make a stroke, move in a little bit, take another pass, move in a little bit, take another pass, so I'm even, you know. You can see where we're at. This happens quick. If you want to hog and bounce your tool around and run too many RPMs and or not enough, run just enough RPMs where you don't have chatter. Okay? If you run too many RPMs and you're cutting too deep, your tool will load up with aluminum, okay? Besides, if you went ahead and did it real hard and fast and dirty, your portings and all is the fun. This should be relaxing, not a job, okay? Let me see if I can get you around in a little different position for me. this point, you're not looking for perfect. Okay, you'll get funny marks. You'll see where your tool went sideways. To erase them, lighten up on the RPM and just kind of do this with your tool. Just kind of stir it around a little bit. What that does is that will get rid of your what you would call a negative mark, you know. It gets rid of the stripes. Hopefully you can see that. That's what it does. Okay. So I'm going to finish this side right here. And this saw, I want it a little more oval than I would like a Husky. I need a lot of air to move. So you can see how much of a difference I'm actually taking out of there. Now, I'm not finishing the bottom yet. We'll get into that here in just a minute. So when I come up next to that bridge, I use the point of that because it's obviously smaller diameter. You'll see me bring that back so I can get in there a little close. I'm starting that now, and I will be finishing with another tool. I anchor with my thumb, just like that. Okay, I have my rough shape. Gives you the idea of the difference between the two. Okay, that's just roughed in. That's not exact yet. Now, I know a question you're going to ask. Well, gee, what about your cases? That's going to hit your cases. These are right-eared cases. Yep, you're right. They are. I'm going to do my cases, too. Well, how in the heck do you keep all them chips from falling down them cases? Easy. I pack it with modeling clay. Sure do. Because no chips get in that modeling clay. $4 worth of modeling clay to make sure you don't have chips on the bottom of a saw so you can match your cases to your cylinder. And I use layout fluid when I match them cases, which you will see right here for the first time. Okay. Now, I've got to do just a little bit of finishing in a couple little areas that I know to. I'm going to catch this little corner while I got my big tooling. I'm working all the way up by my upper transfers right now. I can feel how much my tool's cutting. I can feel the shape. Okay, now I got to do the other one. Hey, I gotta blow this off. Okay, remember this is just roughing in to get my dimensions. Same view on the other side. But substantial difference. Pretty big saw. Needs some big work, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Now I just got to do the other side. Okay. How do I choose my numbers? You really want to know? I'll tell you. First, there's one thing I want to make sure I cover in case I forgot it. I did not meet my blow down number I wanted. I'm 5 degrees short. But 20 degrees of separation from exhaust opening to transfer opening is way better than 12 for me. And it will be for you if you give it a chance. If you're raising your upper transfers, getting it closer, making it open closer to the exhaust roof, you're killing your saw. You're going the wrong way. Don't do that. No, it's against the laws of physics, you know. When my fat ass can float in the air, then that'll probably work for you, but not right now. Okay. Here's the deal. I'm going to make a comparison between a 272 Husqvarna and a 372 because there's lots of them out there that design is wrote in stone. They knew what they was doing. Both of them are 71 cc's, okay? Straight away. The 272 had a 2mm bore, bigger than the original 371. 372. They're 52 millimeter on the 272, and they're 50 millimeter on the 372. 372 is the longer stroke. That was known to be a torque saw. It run all the RPMs. The other saw did too. It did. Okay. Was shorter stroke means less torque. 272 didn't have the torque. So we do things to try to bring it back. We need cut speed. That's what we do. Okay. If you have, in relationship to another saw, if you have a bigger bore than you do stroke as a ratio, yeah, the stroke's longer, but it's a ratio. Be careful how much you raise your transfers because you're going to reach a point you're running out of compression. You need to start building dome pistons to gain back every bit of compression that you're losing. So, if you raise your exhaust roof on a shorter stroke saw, do not build compression back in the form of cutting your base, making a dome basically, or finding an alternative piston. What you're doing is you're killing off your torque. You have a certain point you got to start with compression. Okay, I don't think high compression saws are king. No, I know better. I've run saws all my life. I'm 60. I've built saws for, oh my God, 35 years at least. At least, I don't even know. And I built them for a lot of people. So I've learned these things, but you don't have to listen to me. You play with them, figure it out. You'll learn real fast what didn't work, or you'll think, well, this is pretty good. Well, you don't know until you try to keep your compression up on them saws. Longer stroke saws, you can get away with it a little more because you already had a lot of torque to start with. But I suggest when you start going past, I'll run 96 degrees opening on a 372 and 98 on a 272. So it's 2 degrees difference, okay? This is kind of what I do for work saws, okay? Play toys are a whole different game. I really shoot for the numbers of separation between exhaust opening and transfers. Your transfers is your intake, straight away. It's your intake. Your air fuel comes through your intake. In this case, reads bottom of the case. If you have ample volume in the bottom of your case at high RPMs, you're going to have no problem with airflow. If you're too small in your case, you're not going to get the horsepower up on top where you want it, okay? That's why I don't use crank stuffers. If I ever get a saw's got them, I'll take them right off. I don't even want them. And there's times I do things to get a little more case volume, with results. There's some people that argue all this. We know that. I don't care. Those of you that want to get into port and you want to know how to do it right, how I choose my numbers, that's it. Intake timing numbers, I said in the last video, 155, 157 degrees you can live with. 153 is fine. Total opening. I do not go by when does it open. I want to know how long it's open, how many degrees from the time that piston skirt clears the intake, reaches top dead center, and comes back down. I want to know how long that's open. That's huge. That's really big. Okay? I hope this video was informative. I really like making it for you. And we're going to have fun with this Pioneer, aren't we? Okay, yeah. You're seeing all my Pioneer tricks. Those of you that watch a lot, watch Buck and Billy, know that my Pioneers have got it. The things I don't even think about sharing ever, it's just like, well, everybody knows that. No, they don't, do they? Okay, I will, in the next few videos, if you put it all together and write it down, be sharing everything that I do to make these Pioneers tick. Why they do. Like Bucket said, they are on another level. That ain't a brag, that's a fact. Okay? Ain't nobody freaking build a P-38 in the world yet that can beat the one I sent to Buckin. And there's some guys from Sweden and Norway that's got together that's trying. Good luck, guys. It's doable, but you'll have to watch this series of video and you're going to go, oh, okay. This stuff works, and it's a lot of fun. Don't rush your grinding. Be smooth, be cool. If you start getting little chatter marks, do that little stirring motion and get rid of them as you go. Do that as you go, and it makes it so much nicer on you. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. Thumbs up. I see half of the people that watch this are subscribers, the other half's not. If you don't want to miss anything, subscribe. That's up to you. Hey, thanks for all the comments. We got some good data. We learned. A lot of people watched to the end. That was awesome, man. Goodbye.